Welcome back. I hope you're all doing really well. Thank you again for the love and support on the most recent video. Seriously appreciate it. If you aren't subscribed, make sure you are, as there is a ton more content coming from me, particularly as we are in the pivotal stage of a lot of Hedera developments across the ecosystem, as well as lots of different news to do with the crypto markets, as well as other sets across the board. Lots of news to cover again today, though, for Hedera. Some seriously big announcements that I want to share with you guys, as well as some theoretical information to do with the potential price action for Hedera in the future, albeit I will caveat saying it is purely theoretical and statistical, and it stems from the potential utility of the project. Let's jump straight in and have a look at the sort of market overview and what's going on at the moment, focusing primarily on Bitcoin. So El Salvador has just bought another 80 Bitcoin today at $19,000 each. They're continuing to average into their position as they see a massive future for the token itself. Not only that as well, we obviously had Michael Saylor and his company MicroStrategy continue to average down and build their portfolio size to do with Bitcoin. And obviously this is as it's continuing to hover around that $19,000 mark. Deutsche Bank as well, news just in that they will, or they have predicted or saying that Bitcoin will close the year at $28,000. Seriously interesting. So this would give us around 6 months of accumulation in the 20s for a final push towards the end of the year back towards the $30,000 region. Very interesting as well, as we have now closed the first half of 2022, and it's one of the worst stock market performances we have seen in years, in decades, in fact. And obviously a lot of that is being reflected in the cryptocurrency market. So potentially a lot of these investments banks believe that things may start to pick up in the second half of 2022. We may see equity prices begin to rise, and then alongside that, cryptocurrency prices as well. Although it doesn't appear we're going to have any kind of blow off top that we've had in previous years, but this is a great accumulation phase if you believe in these projects for the long term. Jumping across, I wanted to talk through this thread. I did actually reply to it on Twitter. So if you're following me, some of you would have seen my reply from someone called Tasha Labs. And it just talks about the cryptocurrency space and what's going to be happening next in the next sort of phase of development for these technologies. So the next wave of crypto adoption will come from utility tokens of real world companies. Why and how? So tokenization is a big breakthrough of Web3. It creates huge possibilities for innovation, but also opens many cans of worms. The fact that anyone can create a token to represent anything of value and trade it with any other asset on an open network under common standards is something unthinkable before the creation of public blockchains. Amazing indeed. As we said before, use cases for things like NFTs, if you really think out into the future, will be things such as maybe title deeds for houses. They could be listed as NFTs, and you remove a lot of the friction of buying and selling those types of real world assets via a blockchain, hash graph, whatever it may be, some form of DLT. Tokenization, though, also allows many Web3 products to gain an appearance of traction in the short term, even though they're never sustainable businesses on their own. And we see this across the board, right? Loads of things get built. They appear to be very good, solve a lot of problems, and then they kind of fizzle out because they can never really drive revenue and profit themselves. The Ponzi's eventually implode, but that doesn't negate the fact that if applied in the right context, tokenization is a powerful economic tool that will supercharge business growth. Again, if you've been watching my videos, you will know of that recent headline I covered from Goldman Sachs saying that trillions of dollars could be tokenized via blockchains, DLTs, and that is something that they are looking to do. They see it as the next big thing for not only the world, but also their profitability. There's a lot of money to be made in this space as it further legs up the next stage of business development across the globe. Real businesses are only waking up to the power of tokenization. Death of speculation in bear markets gives breathing room, and real innovations in tokenizations can happen. Companies with viable products that manage to integrate utility tokens into existing business models early will be handsomely rewarded while driving crypto adoption forward. Now, again, for a lot of you, this should be sounding alarm bells. We've got @atomo.io, who have an existing product that are integrating into a utility-derived token, i.e. Hbar, on Hedera Hashgraph in order to streamline their business model and process billions of transactions. And then come July, we've got the Coupon Bureau, who are doing something very similar in a different section of the world with coupons and rolling out across large-scale businesses such as Family Dollar Tree stores and Walmart over in the United States. So it's already happening as we speak on Hedera Hashgraph. And this sort of thread backs up a lot of that information. You will be able to draw parallels with this thread and utility-based projects with obviously Hedera, and it's something that I talk about an awful lot, and this is why I see so much potential in the project itself. How can a traditional business then benefit from utility tokens? Here are 3 ways. So loyalty programs with liquidity. Simplest utility token use cases is a reward program, Coupon Bureau. Users can earn more tokens the more they use the product. Tokens can then be redeemed for more products in the future. Loyalty programs are nothing new. Think frequent flyer miles, Starbucks rewards, credit card points. The game changer part is to allow the points one earns to have liquidity on secondary markets on public blockchains. Something else here is a massive use case for secondary markets are things like the carbon emission industry, obviously with what Dover were doing and several other players over on Hedera. It is a huge business where carbon credits are issued to businesses. If they are outputting a carbon credit, effectively gives the company the right to emit a certain amount of tons of CO2 into the atmosphere. Now, if they are going to emit more than the carbon credits they've been issued, they can purchase those additional carbon credits from other businesses on the secondary market whom are more efficient and know that they're not going to meet that quota, say the 10,000 carbon credits they've been issued. So they go and sell the other 2,000 at a premium to another company that requires them to prevent themselves from being heavily penalized. Similar thing here with loyalty programs that Tash is talking about. This completely turns the business model of traditional loyalty program on its head, which it does. You know, if you buy 6 Starbucks coffees, you can get another one free, but you can't really sell that anywhere else. Not easily anyway. Something like this being adopted into the blockchain, the utilization of something like that makes it very easy, and you can trade these goods, you can tokenize these assets very effectively. Traditional user reward programs are essentially discriminatory pricing. Charging users different prices by usage levels allows firms to capture higher profits, or in economic jargon, higher producer surplus. Now, the graph below is a typical economics diagram, if any of you have studied some of this, but the orange chart in the area below is the producer surplus from a transaction when customers are all charged the same price. Now, we can actually increase that as a producer. So if producer creates 2-tier pricing methods, i.e. predatory pricing or discriminatory pricing, the orange area can be bigger and they capture more of that additional surplus, i.e. they make more money. This is something the blockchains enable them to do. If you can now trade those Starbucks loyalty cards in a frictionless secondary market, they have more value because they can be easily distributed or transacted to a wider audience that value those someone else. The more fine-grained the price discrimination, the more producer surplus there is, as long as the firm makes sure customers on expensive tiers cannot cheat to take advantage of the lower prices on other tiers. That's why airlines don't allow you to sell your frequent flyer miles. If volume discount can be transferred to other users, the business model of loyalty programs falls apart. But that's exactly what happens if you tokenize a loyalty program. If loyalty points are fungible tokens that can be traded on a secondary market, you're giving everyone the same discount, that is token price multiplied the amount of your product one token can redeem for. So then why would any business want to tokenize a loyalty program? Because although tokens made differentiated pricing impossible, it gives stronger incentives for users to earn rewards, since monetary benefit can be derived immediately and cashed out from a secondary market. So some of you guys may purchase a few more cups of Starbucks because you walk past it, because that free cup of coffee that you can then trade on the secondary market may make up for that because your journey is easy or something like that. Maybe that's a bad example, but think of the potential use cases. Liquidity makes tokenized rewards more attractive than loyalty points confined in walled gardens, i.e. a physical stamped book that you own. In economic terms, the extra incentive creates upward shift in demand, the demand curve equal to the amount of discount, which manifests as user growth and higher usage from existing users, resulting equilibrium price, quantity, and producer surplus are higher than the base. So we can see demand curve shifts out to the right. Obviously, quantity has increased there, so more units are sold. But also, as a matter of fact of that demand shift, you can charge higher prices if supply remains constant. You say, but the firm now gives out a subsidy to all users in the form of loyalty tokens. Do benefits outweigh the subsidy cost? That brings us to benefit 2. So funding growth market spend without affecting current cash flow. In 2000, PayPal paid tens of millions of dollars in sign-up bonuses to new users to bootstrap adoption. It was a great incentive, but hard cash taken out of the company coffers. So you may have seen this as well with many other things. If you're in the United Kingdom, you may have seen Chase recently roll out a product throughout the United Kingdom, and they were giving some very handsome incentives for referrals. And this has been done since the sort of dawn of time when it comes to growing clientele and user bases. Unless you're a venture capital backed startup with a large runway, it's hard for new firms to pull off growth marketing stunts like that. But if sign up bonuses is taken in token form, it doesn't impact current cash position of companies, instead gives today's subtract from tomorrow's revenue as users redeem tokens for companies' products and services in the future. I.e., if you tokenize these assets, you don't have to impact your cash flow immediately. You can then give discounted or subsidized versions of pricing of products in the future that you're then going to sell. So you sort of take the pain away from today and you push it out to tomorrow, which is obviously great for businesses that are looking to expand rapidly, particularly if they have a very valid business model. Without the help of secondary markets to extend utility, with the help, you can use future unrealized revenue to fund growth today. It is a much more flexible marketing spend possible for a wider range of companies. Besides, you can also adjust redemption ratios, i.e. X amount of tokens can be redeemed for Y amount of product to change how much discount in dollar terms you're giving out at a different time. Depending on market prices of your product and token, you can obviously scale that independently. This monetary policy is additional marketing levers at your disposal. It also helps set floor prices for your token and supports price stability. Another benefit of tokens compared to traditional rewards programs is it increases the number of direct and indirect stakeholders. You can then broaden stakeholder bases as well. So many Web3 communities are nothing more than echo chambers of speculators hoping token prices would go up. Utility completely offsets this and gives an incentive to hold those tokens. Community built on appreciation hopium is powerful in a bull market, but fragile and destructive in the long term, particularly obviously in bear markets. Instead, like any good currency, you'd want to build long-term trust in your utility token by aiming for relatively stable prices. So user incentive is to earn more tokens, not expecting tokens to appreciate. Now that final tweet there should again be sounding alarm bells, as this is the vision of what Mance and Lehman have been talking about for a long time, building their 100-year company. They are less interested in the price appreciation of the Hbar token. Instead, they are more focused on building Hedera as a utility platform for enterprise use cases through tokenization of services and real-world assets, as well as to sort of diminish those barriers to entry for large-scale products. Majority of this thread can tie a lot of strings or threads back towards what Hedera has been aiming to achieve and has been achieving, particularly as we enter this bear market. They are continuing to build, and they will realize a vast majority of what's been said in this thread. And it's one of the reasons why I'm in such a bullish position towards Hedera itself for the future. I strongly believe in what they are doing for many different reasons, a lot of them as well being economic. The amount of value that they can unlock with what they are doing is absolutely phenomenal. Hopefully this was a sort of interesting segment of the video for you guys, and you found it sort of a good way to visualize what could happen with Hedera in the future. If I jump across though, we've got some more announcements for Hedera. So pleased to support MetaWizard NFT, a competitive play to earn video game platform for the creation of new PTE racing game on Hedera network. The game will leverage both the HSCS and the HTS. So another great partnership there with the Hbar Foundation. Some other project that I've just seen recently that I thought I'd bring to your attention, built of course on Hedera, is HASHSTATE Builders. So a collective resource where you can mint buildings, dominate the city's development business, all as NFTs on Hedera Hbar blockchain. So 2020 game dev company. And then this recent tweet: in the upcoming browser game, you'll be able to connect your Hedera wallet and create buildings out of resources like bricks or cement and tools like trucks and cranes, with every item being a tradable NFT. So think of this like an in-game web browser where you can trade different types of NFTs and scale those NFTs to build bigger and better ones in the form of buildings. And obviously they should be worth slightly more money than the underlying resources. This is a really interesting concept, and I will continue to cover this in the future as it develops and follow it a little bit more closely, as it could be something very engaging for a lot of the community, as well as another novel use case for gaming on Hedera. 11 million Hbar has been transacted via Zoo's marketplace. No surprise here. NFTs on Hedera are obviously blowing up at the moment. They're gaining a lot more traction, particularly as we see a lot more utility-based NFTs releasing for projects. Obviously, we had the SaucerSwap NFTs, which brought a lot of utility in the form of airdrops and faucet rewards of source tokens. Dead Pixels have got potential plans for their ghost passes in the future. You've got 𝗟𝗏𝗡𝗦's NFTs, which are able to be similar to that building game, where you can buy multiple of them and then combine them and convert them into master 𝗟𝗏𝗡s. Lots of other things happening across the ecosystem, and I think we'll continue to see Hedera NFTs develop rapidly as they take away market share from overpriced chains like Ethereum and Solana. Some awesome news as well for the Hedera ecosystem. So SaucerSwap Labs have come out saying, we are proud to announce the Hedera DeFi Alliance, with 3 founding members being SaucerSwap Labs, Stader Hedera, and HeadStarter org. The HDA will expand and accelerate DeFi on Hedera by providing tooling, standards, knowledge, and inclusivity. Stay tuned for this one. So really great to see 3 of these key pillars of the Hedera sort of DeFi community coming together to help support the ecosystem. And it's one of the reasons why I've mentioned a lot of these projects in the past on the channel. They are seriously committed to developing the Hedera ecosystem and less so concerned about making a quick buck for themselves and then exiting early. They will be here for a long time, and they are providing the tooling, standards, knowledge, and stuff like that to help drive forward the ecosystem. Hopefully we may see something as well to do with Hbar Suite. They are using a completely Hedera based solution for DeFi on the chain or in the ecosystem, as opposed to smart contracts. So lots of different innovation happening, and great to see they're all coming together. Many of you as well would have watched recent videos where I mentioned 𝗟𝗏𝗡𝗦 and a lack of updates to do with their mainnet release. So pleased to say that our 𝗟𝗏𝗡𝗦 connected product cloud has started to utilize Hedera network to account for carbon emissions of billions of unique items. So this got dropped on the 30th of June, so the last day of June for their deadline. Obviously, it was June to go live, and apparently they are now connected and will begin to utilize the network to account for those transactions. So this exciting partnership with the Hbar Foundation and the use of Hedera network services will enable new decarbonization use cases while driving the adoption of digital ID technologies across a variety of industries. And that was from Francisco Melo, the VPV and General Manager. Lots more information as well on my channel about 𝗟𝗏𝗡𝗦 and what they are intending to do. Hopefully we'll begin to see this reflected in the transactions per second. We haven't really seen it fully go live on the mainnet yet, but great to see 𝗟𝗏𝗡𝗦 still fully committed to utilizing Hedera, and that is a seriously green flag. Also remember, throughout July we'll be seeing the Coupon Bureau go live, so those 2 major use cases are really coming together. Hashpack as well, continuing their sort of massive roadmap. Couldn't even think of a word there. Their roadmap has been absolutely crazy, and they've made it just that much more crazier. So excited to bring native staking directly inside Hashpack, and that will be coming soon. Obviously this goes off the back of HIP 406, which was pushed through and will be going live, I believe, on the 14th of July. It will be absorbed into the latest mainnet update on that date. So native staking will be coming to Hashpack. Said it from day one since I made this channel. Obviously Hashpack have been the wallet of choice for me, and I've pushed Hashpack because of how secure, how robust the dev team are as well about pushing updates and listening to the community, and they're continuing to do that with things like native staking, as well as iOS and Android app development as well being in their roadmap for future rollout, which is also brilliant to see. Stonking interview by Mance Herman with Kitco News now. Some top answers to come to some intelligent questions. Hedera Hashgraph Hbar enables entire supply chains of billions of products to be tokenized, and for those tokens to be leveraged in a multitude of ways. I'll try and leave that link down in the description, as it is a long one, but something that you guys can look at. Now, wanted to round the video up with something, I guess, a little bit sort of controversial, but just talking about some potential price implications of utility, because utility is something that's very hard to price. So this was a thread that was released over on Reddit, talking about the scarcity and effective supply of Hedera and how that could be potentially used to price the token in the future. And this uses a statistical technique called measures of relative standing. So relative standing is a way to describe the relationship between a specific value in a data set with the rest of the values in the set, or a way to compare values coming from different data sets with one another. Specifically, a measure of relative standing refers to mathematical tricks that allow you to scale a data set and its distribution in a way that you can meaningfully compare this data set in many ways, be it with itself or with other proportionally scaled data sets. So that's kind of what's happening here, and it's to do with statistics and probability. So what is he talking about? So the circulating supply and as well as market cap is not a good indicator of scarcity due to the divisibility. For some networks such as Bitcoin, each unit is divisible by 1 to the 8. So what's that? 100 million, I believe, off the top of my head. Billion, something like that. In others, such as XRP, they're divisible by 1 to the 6. The effective minimum unit supply is the number of units, i.e. the circulating supply. So if you multiply the divisibility of the units together, this means that at most circulating supply multiplied by the divisibility units available for purchase at any given time, indicating the actual scarcity. You cannot purchase half a house, for example, but you can purchase a fraction of any cryptocurrency. So let's suppose the following. So these prices are in New Zealand dollars by the looks of it. So the supply of units for Bitcoin is 18925,000, divisibility of a unit being that number on screen, and then with the price today being, say, 32,000 New Zealand dollars. So if you divide those out, you get an effective minimum unit supply of 1.8925. You do a similar exercise for Hedera itself, and you get some other figures, and then you can basically match them together. So if Hbar matched the EMSP of Bitcoin today, Hbar would have a value that is 325,000 times the current price that it is, which would effectively match what Bitcoins were at the time of this calculation. And therefore, if Bitcoin matched the EMSP of Hbar, Bitcoin would be worth a fraction of what it currently is, i.e. matching Hbar's price. So how this is working is, as I mentioned at the beginning, relative standing, a statistical technique, which is setting the populations of Hbar and Bitcoin equal to the EMS. The standard deviations of Hbar and Bitcoin then become 0, since everyone is almost guaranteed to sell at the current market price, not higher or lower. Set the corresponding means to the current market price. You can adjust Hbar's price to Bitcoin's as if it had the exact same EMS, and you will find the price will equal. This is a unique property of this pairing of both Hbar and Bitcoin because they are divisible by 1 to the 8. But for other coins, obviously the prices are different. For example, XRP, if that had the EMSP of Bitcoin in today's prices, it would be roughly 324 New Zealand dollars per XRP, according to this measure of adjusted scarcity. I.e., if the proportional demands were equal, you can expect to see the prices comparable. It is likely by that time the market cap will not be a relevant measure of value. Despite the EMS of Hbar is still 1,114 times that of Bitcoin. Hence, if you assume that demand will not be proportionally equal, but that the demand remained the same, then you could expect around 32 New Zealand dollars per Hbar, which is around 20 US dollars. He then goes on to say market cap is obviously rubbish, and Ripple folk have been tooting this horn for years, which is definitely true. The only thing that matters is the price of these assets are going to be unbelievable once utility and regulation kicks in. What you currently see is still 90% speculation driven leftover retailers and investors from the 2009 era. Basically what he's saying is majority of the market cap today is obviously all built on speculation. Once utility comes in and factors it, you have better ways to value these projects, and you'll probably see a massive increase in the value of these tokens. And he's obviously saying around here we could expect Hbar to be double-digit figures going out into the future, which I personally agree with. I don't know whether they'll be that high. You can still use market cap as obviously a bit of a grounding rod for feasibility of something happening, but he is also right that market cap is not a brilliant measure, as there are a lot of falsehoods with its representation. The first one being market cap is not actually the true value of all the money that's been put in, as it is a scaling thing. One person buys one at $1 and then another person buys one at $2. Everything is then valued at that last point. To take this example, the last trade price multiplied by the circulating supply equals the market cap. So if person A buys 100 Bitcoins for 10k each, then the market cap is 170 billion. Person B comes along and buys one Bitcoin, just one, for $10,200. That is then multiplied out by the 17 million coins in circulation, which is 173.4 billion. The market cap just increased by $3.4 billion because one person bought one Bitcoin for an extra $200. That is really how market cap works, and this is why a lot of people say it is incredibly stupid and useless to work out what's really going on. The other thing as well, you can compare the market cap of one coin to the market cap of another. Again, there are issues with this, and that's why that previous thread was talking about statistical relativity. Let's say my intensely savvy mother opened a successful shoe repair shop and has 1,500 shares in her business. She sold me 500 shares for 50,000, which is $100 a share. Market cap would be the 150,000. By contrast, let's say IBM's market cap is 145 billion. Circle any of the following that are true. IBM's market cap is way too high because my mum's shoe repair shop market cap is nowhere near that. Thus, IBM is due for a major correction. Mum's shoe repair shop market cap is way undervalued compared to IBM's market cap and is exceptionally good buy opportunity before the next parabolic hits. If you circled any of the above, you're stupid. Yet amazingly, people fail this test for stupidity all the time with crypto. Why? Because they don't understand what the hell it is they're investing in. End of story. I'm not going to continue reading the rest of this, as this video is already incredibly long. I will leave it in the description, as it is a really interesting read to talk about and understand market cap. And this is another reason why I preach information and making sure you understand what you are doing, what you are buying, what you are holding, and that you have conviction. Anyway, hopefully you enjoyed this and hopefully you learned something from this video, as it was quite a long one. Props to any of you that stuck around to the end. I will catch you in the next one. See you then. Cheers.